Today, we are here to once again try and answer the question, can I somehow buy a Black Beauty without having to spend the price of a Black Beauty? And this here is an option that Ludwig is trying to give you to do exactly that. We've got the Ludwig Universal Model snare that looks very familiar and is pretty obviously meant to be an alternative to the Black Beauty that I seem to not be able to stop talking about on this channel. So what I want to do is talk about the differences, what are the similarities, and then of course I want you to be able to hear both of them back to back to tell if they sound any different. So some similarities, they are both brass shells, they both have a center bead, they both also have black nickel plating. However, you will notice that there's a color difference because the black nickel is different on both models. I assume it's less expensive on the Universal. Also, those shells, we're looking at a seamless shell on the Black Beauty and not a seamless shell on the Universal model. We also have tube lugs versus the Imperial lugs on the Black Beauty. The Imperial lugs also have inserts, which make tuning a little bit easier, and no inserts on tube lugs, which is pretty standard for that type of lug. The hoops, I think, are the same. They're both triple flange, and I don't feel any thickness difference, so I think the hoops are the same, but we also have a difference in the stock heads. We have different stock top and bottom heads, different snare wires, and then I thought the throw was actually the same on both of them. I thought it was the standard Atlas throw, but I think they've gone for a slightly cheaper version of the Atlas throw on the Universal because it doesn't have those little notches or those little gears that you're used to if you've actually used one of the Atlas throws. Also just subtle little differences, like we've got metal washers on the Universal versus plastic washers, which are actually preferable on the Black Beauty. So there are some obvious differences that advantage the Black Beauty, but the question is, how different do they sound? So that's what we're gonna look at now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play for you the Black Beauty. By the way, these are both 8x14s in case I didn't mention that. I'm gonna play for you the Black Beauty stock, how it comes from the factory. And then to give the Universal a fighting chance, I'm going to switch the top heads and put the more premium top head on the Universal. So you're gonna hear them with the same top head. I'm gonna try and get them tuned as close to being the same as I can with the TuneBot as well. And then we'll see how they stack up. So, what were you hearing? Let me know in the comments if you could tell that there was an obvious difference between the seamless versus the not seamless shell, or if you can hear the difference between Imperial lugs and tube lugs. In the room, I will say that when I first played the Universal with its stock head, I noticed immediately that it did not sound or feel the way I was used to a Black Beauty feeling. And I play a Black Beauty all the time. I'm pretty used to what it sounds like. And I was thinking, this is not it. However, when I switched the heads, I did think, yes, this is much, much more in the ballpark. I will also just say, subjectively being in the room and actually having my hands on both of these drums, that you can feel that the fit and finish is better on the Black Beauty, but is it worth the price difference? And yes, there is a significant price difference. We're looking at $899 for the Black Beauty in this size, and we're looking at $349 for the Universal model. So this is, I think for me, a similar recommendation to the Superlight, where if you can't quite afford an Acrolite or a Superphonic, it's, I think, a great move to just get a Superlight and then change out the top and bottom heads, maybe even the snare wires. Same thing here, where if you want something very similar to a Black Beauty, but it's just hard to stomach $900, absolutely grab one of these, replace the top and bottom heads, and I am sure that you are going to be happy with it. This is also a good option too if maybe you already have like a 5x14 or a 6.5x14 Black Beauty, and you've always kind of wanted like an 8x14, but you just don't want to pony up another $900. This is a great option to have another size, but not break the bank. So I seem to make enough content at this point that I should probably say I'm not endorsed by Ludwig or the Black Beauty, although, hey, Ludwig, I'm here for you if you ever want to work something out. But I just saw this come come into the drum shop next door and I thought, I gotta make a comparison. So hopefully that is helpful to some of you making a decision on these drums. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.